I think we all have a backlog of stuff to accomplish in some aspects of our lives, whether it be through books, games, music, or movies. I was looking at my Steam profile the other day and realized something. I barely invested any time into a majority of my games on the platform. Granted, I got most of these games for dirt cheap or for free, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was doing a disservice to all these great titles by not playing them. Sure, I may own them and can selectively experience which titles I want, but the fact that these games keep collecting dust in my virtual library is always in the back of my mind. You see, when I was a kid, getting a new game was a big deal. When you were a kid, sure you have less responsibilities and more free time, but also less freedom and money. Whenever I got a new game, no matter how bad it was, I played that thing front to back for what seemed like months before I could get a new game. Sure, being a kid makes it harder to tell what's bad or not, since that time in a person's life is easily impressionable, but it also gave me a respect for even the strangest games in my collection. You can chalk it up to nostalgia, but I think these types of experiences really shape how we see the world later in our lives. The reason I bring this up is because whenever I get a new game these days, I don't get the same level of enjoyment as I did back then. Maybe it's because I have experienced a lot of games and I know what to expect. Or maybe it's because I'm getting older and games aren't as novel to me anymore. Actually, I think the real reason is because I'm not really fully immersing myself in the games I already own. These days, we live in a world of overwhelming information. If you're even away from the internet for more than a few days or so, it can be hard to get back into the loop. This type of mentality has been transferred to our media. When was the last time you were really surprised by something in a book, film, or TV show that wasn't revealed months before release? We like to throw away information just as fast as we get it, and the full excitement of actually experiencing something for the first time has trickled away when we do actually get it. I mean, this is understandable to an extent. There's so much media that releases each year that savoring each piece of information is impossible to do. However, I feel this attitude of treating media is toxic and devalues art as a whole. You see it everywhere these days. A franchise gets a fifth or sixth reboot and is retooled to be the most generic, crowd-pleasing thing in order to make a quick buck, without the passion and creativity of the original team that worked on it. Sure, I'm generalizing, and of course there are exceptions. Some of my favorite movies over the past few years broke that mold and have shown to be amazing sequels, but our culture has grown so accustomed to disposing of media and moving on to the next latest and greatest thing, that the media we create is just as disposable. Why try a new and fresh idea or refining a well-established formula when you can make a generic action movie with half the effort and potential for franchisement? Coming back to my Steam library, I'm ashamed every time I see it because I know I barely spent any money to acquire all these great games. Yet I'm not experiencing them to the best of my ability. I shouldn't feel this way. I'm not obligated to enjoy all art, and no one should be. But just thinking of all these unique experiences I'm missing out on due to my lack of time and my dedication to play all these games at least a decent amount, like I did when I was younger, makes me feel just a bit guilty, and is kind of insulting to the original creators of these games. I too have fallen victim to the disposable nature of modern society, getting games for super cheap online and thinking of all the great experiences I'll have with them, and never following through. I feel like these days I don't give games enough of a chance, purely judging them on the surface level and my first impressions, and not taking the time to really get into them since I have so many. This is ironic since some of my favorite pieces of media are just unheard of stuff people recommended to me, or things I decided to try on a whim with little to no knowledge beforehand. So what is the lesson to take from all of this? In general, to not consume art and media as rapidly as we all do. My advice is to take some time off and experience something you love all over again. Or do the exact opposite and delve deep into your backlog and watch that show you've never watched. Play that game you've always wanted to invest some time into. Or sit down and watch a movie you think looks neat. Art in general isn't just about what it is or how it makes us feel, but also how we consume it and how we can make the most of it. I personally am going to try to wean away from information about things I'm excited for before they are released so I can have a more authentic reaction when I finally get my hands on it. Really, that's just my rambling on the topic. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. See you next time.